Hey everybody, Jesse James of Black Fork Lawn and Snow. Today it's going to be a little bit different. We're adding a segment to this channel, and it's going to be a video podcast setup. It's going to be the Lawn Care Podcast. It's going to be available in about a week or so from now. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all that. Today I sat down with a good friend of mine, Chris Sloan from Grass Grind TV. Very good guy, and if anything could go wrong on my first video podcast, you know it will. You know it will. Them lawn care gods did not want it to happen today, but I did not quit. I struggled through it, and it was a little bit aggravating, but we made it work. As you listen and as you watch in today's video, and if you're listening to it only audio, glad to have you here. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that little bell so y'all notified on the next video. What happened was we was live. I wanted to live stream the first video, and everything went wrong. Got some first take halfway in, got some random static that just jumped in. Had some computer malfunctions. Then second take had my computer just blacked out. So we ended up just doing the old phone call, and I put it into my I put my phone into my mixer, and I used an SD card, and that's the way that it seemed to work perfect. So glad to have you. Please listen to him. He tells his whole story. A very knowledgeable guy. Awesome, just a straight up awesome dude that I feel like doesn't have as much notoriety within the YouTube world that he should. So if you can go over there, go to at Grass Grind TV and check out their channel. It's really good. So without further ado, we're getting into this video podcast. A little bit of technical difficulties, but we got it all done. You know how we do. Appreciate you. Well, first off, welcome everybody. Jesse James from Black Fork Lawn and Snow, and we got Chris Sloan from Grass Grind TV.
Yeah.
Most of you guys should, if you don't know him, you should just go check out. The link will be in the description below, but it'll be at Grass Grind TV if I'm right.
Yeah.
And this is a live podcast setup. The idea here is, talk to people about the industry, how they got in, what they want to do, what their background is. It's not going to be super long, but it's just a segment that I'm adding. Just straight up lawn care. I'm not sure about the name 100% for the YouTube side, but I'm thinking life and lawn care with this guest. So first off, welcome you guys. And Chris,
welcome.
What made you break in this business? Have you been in this business for a long time and then just started your YouTube channel, or did you do it both at the same time?
Well, it's really funny. It took me a while to kind of figure out that I wanted to get in lawn care.
Yeah.
I actually tried back in 2010 and failed miserably.
I hear you.
So it was kind of one of those things. I was like, yeah, I'm going to start. And I was all over the place. I didn't have marketing together, uniforms. I didn't know who I was mowing, how much I was going to charge for it. Right. And so it kind of slowed down and kind of died away. But from there, I was a machinist, and, I kept working.
Would you run a CNC or?
I'm sorry?
Did you run a CNC or?
Yeah, I ran CNC and manual lathe. So it just depended on what parts was needed. But I can run both.
Right.
The problem that I had is that I would work, and then it was hard to get to that next step, the next level. Yeah. And you see a lot of people getting promotions, and you know that you are more qualified. You can run this machine better, this part better, and from there,
that's when is rough. I mean, when you're in that, it's simple, but people, you see all these guys out there in the world who's making a living. Like I would see landscapers and I would see construction guys, but then it's like the security of having a good job. And I was passionate about my job. I worked the same job for 7 years at one point, and then I even left another job to come back. So it's like I told almost 10 years I worked at the same place, very passionate about it. I loved it, but it's just the point of I'm always going to be working for somebody else, and I got to the level I wanted to be in a leadership
Mhm.
position, and there was at least 20 years away from going up any higher.
Right.
That was
Right.
one of my big for jumping out too. But go ahead with it. So you're working as a machinist, and
Yeah.
then go.
Yeah. I was working as a machinist, and we would sit down and have quarterly meetings. And they would go over all the production, how much profit the company made, and the numbers
Right,
didn't match up for me because I'm a big numbers guy. So they would go in the
right,
meeting, they'll say, "Hey, we made, you know, 5 million this quarter or 10 million, whatever it may be,"
right.
but that money was not getting passed along to the people that actually helps make that amount. So for me, I'm kind of thinking like, man, if they're making 5, 10 million a quarter, 20 million, and we're only pretty much getting pennies off of that amount. So
Right.
I started brainstorming because I wanted to find something that was profitable and I could figure out how to market, how to run the business. And it puts a lot of pressure on me just to say, hey, okay, now it's go time. It's different when you go to a job. It's a lot of people that the the duties are being dispersed between different people
Supposed to
when
be.
it's supposed to be. That's true. And that was it. I just didn't feel that.
Was you there for a long time?
Yeah, yeah, I was very dedicated, but I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted. It seemed like the higher the level, the less work that they would do, and the lower the level, the more work you would have to do.
Oh yeah.
um, yeah, so got to brainstorming. And actually, a buddy of mine, he was doing lawn care, and he said he was an engineer, and he was making great money, maybe 80, 90,000 a year. But he was tired of being in the office and the day to day duties and
Yeah.
just everything with that. And from there, I said, hey, maybe I can try it out, and that's how
So you
everything got started.
that guy then, and
Oh,
got the
I'm
idea.
sorry.
You got the idea from talking to another guy that was
I did. I
in.
did because he said he just loves to pretty much just be able to go out there,
I respect.
have fun. He picks his own breaks, his own times. He's his own boss. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Right. So you took that opportunity. You started what? I would assume start where I start is YouTube or Google then.
Right. Now, are you talking about for the Sloan's Lawn Care or for the YouTube side?
Well, for the business itself, did you immediately just start building flyers, or did you kind of look into it first and decide?
Well, it was actually probably a 2 year, maybe a year process. And what I would do is that while I was working, I would put back some money for equipment because I knew in order to get into the industry, you would have to have good equipment.
Right.
So I'll put a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, and then was lucky enough to save up enough to get different equipment, and then kind of grew from there.
That's
But
smart.
it definitely takes a long time to acquire the money to get the equipment because it's expensive.
What did Miss Sarah think when you told her, "Hey, I'm thinking about maybe starting a lawn care business"?
Very, very supportive.
Really?
Very supportive. Yeah, yeah, very supportive. We bounce ideas off of each other. There's been businesses that she would like to open, of course, with the lawn care, but she was very supportive from the start. Very supportive.
So 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 you wait, you're ready, and then you break in what was 2019 your first season?
2017.
Oh, so
2017.
for a couple years then.
Yeah, 2017 was the very first year. No, actually 2018,
Okay.
because we got all the licensing and everything in
Right.
2017 and then started 2018.
Well, how'd
Um,
that season go for you?
I'm sorry.
How'd that season go for you?
It actually went pretty good. I mean, we were lucky enough, saving and just saving, and we were lucky enough to be able to buy some equipment. And then it
Right.
was like we had the equipment over that, I think, the winter period. And now we're like, okay, where's the customer base?
Right. So you're at your job, and
Yeah,
your wife's supporting you. You're already saving money. You know you're going to make the move.
right.
What do? You don't quit your job right away, right?
No,
Are you still
no.
employed or are you full time now?
No, it's just it's just lawn care.
Oh,
Basically, what it was is that I was working night shift, and then, of course, when the season started, um, I would get off maybe around 6, get home, get the kids together, and then go out and mow.
right.
So it was very tough because,
Oh
of
yeah.
course, sometimes you're on the yard and you like, but it was a safety nest for, hard times because at that point, it was not a lot of customers. So get off, mow until about 2 or 3, and then try to get maybe an hour or two sleep, and then go back in. So it was tough.
Yeah, third shift is never easy.
Mhm.
Whenever I work third, because I tried to get from where I was working day shift, and I get off in day shift, and then I'd go mow. I wanted so bad to go to third shift, and I couldn't. That was another reason why I just said, "Now I'm just gonna go full time," because I could not get on third shift. But
Mhm.
man, I don't know. What'd you do? When did you end up telling your boss that? All right,
Well,
hey,
what was interesting is that um, the the next year,
mm-hmm,
which was last year, 2019, I mean, we got so many clients just out. I don't really want to say out of the blue because we did marketing. We had the website at that time, of course, before the season.
right.
So it almost forced my hand where I couldn't get everybody, all the lawns done because I had to go to work. So I had to
Yeah.
balance. And then at that point, I said, hey, I'm a firm believer in investing in yourself. And, taking that jump is scary. It's very
Oh
scary.
yeah.
It
So
is.
you turn your 2 weeks in,
Hmm.
and how was that? I mean, that's never easy quitting a job.
It
To
wasn't hard for me.
really, you're just
Really, it wasn't because this is the way that I look at it. And this is just my opinion.
uh-huh.
When an employee leaves, whether it's 2-week notice or get fired, there's another person that they can put right there.
Yeah.
So for me, I felt great because it's ours. We control the scenario. We control how to market,
Oh yeah.
how much money it brings. Um, if you don't work, you don't eat. So if you sit back and you're like, oh yeah, I'm waiting on some lawns, and
Right.
it's not going to work.
It
But if you get out there and do the work, then that's when the ball starts rolling.
it took yeah, I know that feeling because I felt like I was losing money by going to work.
Exactly.
I honestly felt like that, and whenever I quit my job, I had like they're doing a lot of changes at that company, and they were like, "You only been back for X amount of time," and I'm like, "You know what? I'm losing money being here." And
Hmm.
it's my boss, he just now kind of figured it out, you know what I mean? And it was kind of rough, but like at that time I was so confident, you know what I mean? Now it's wintertime and everything's a little slow, you know what I mean? But I'm so happy that I made the move too, man. I'm
Well,
so
I
happy.
mean, I really love it. It wasn't an easy decision. I did it, but it wasn't easy because you get into the routine. Okay, you go Monday through Friday or whatever the schedule is. You know about how much your paycheck is going to be every week or every 2 weeks, and it's scary because now it's on you.
It's
You know, so I just did research. I mean, I was looking at a whole lot of channels, and one great video that I saw, because I'm a numbers guy. I
Right.
just boom, 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 boom. I was watching Johnny Moe, and he was talking about knowing your numbers. And I thought I knew my numbers. You go out there, okay, this guy gives me however much, for the
Right.
lawn. I go home, I got a little money in my pocket, I'm good to
Right.
go. But when I looked at that video, it's a lot more to it. It's more detailed. You need to know what type of bills that you have, how much gas did you use, oil usage, wear and tear on the truck, wear and tear on the tires. And I'm like, man, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And saving for the winter. So it's so many different YouTube outlets, and you just got to piece it together. Some people, not so much, but every once in a while you'll get a couple of channels that really know what they're talking about.
Oh yeah, I watched video after video after video thinking until I finally I'm just now learning like trying to learn my numbers. Like actually Kayla, Kayla,
Yeah.
she is really good with numbers. She's like a freak. Like she does all my like for snow plowing and stuff. I just
Mm-hmm.
tell her like, "Hey, this person's interested," and
Mm-hmm.
she breaks it all down, which is I'm
Right.
blessed because a lot of people because I'm not good with numbers, but a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people aren't in that situation to where like you're good with them, Kayla's good
Mm-hmm.
with numbers in my situation, to where when she started telling me what to price versus what I was pricing, I'm like, oh shit,
Right,
like
right, right, right,
I.
right.
But I'm glad I brought her in to the mix. But when you started bringing, you didn't hire anybody. You and your wife started working together. Now she works. She has a full time job as well, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
So that's got to be rough on her. She's in. She helps you out a lot.
Yeah, she helps definitely a lot.
She
If
makes your
it,
hey, she makes your whole channel too. Her personality, she is
this
crazy. She
this
is
is the
crazy.
thing. This is the thing is that she doesn't like the camera thing, and every once in a while she'll get in there. So a lot of times it'll be me, and then I'll kind of catch a little glimpse, some days. But she's helped tremendously, tremendously.
Wow. You
Yep.
plan on going ahead and trying to get some trying to get some helpers, maybe not full-time guys, but just some guys that run the stick equipment?
I don't know. We're kind of torn because employees, some, not all,
Mhm.
don't value the equipment.
I hear you.
So, like you go out there, you buy an edger, you buy a nice mower, and if they bump it against a tree or jump
Yeah.
off a curb, they're like, well, here you go. And now you're stuck with, the damage. So that's kind of a red flag for us.
Yeah.
And but in order to grow, that's a great way to grow. Um,
That's what I was gonna bring up. What where do you see yourself going from here? Because obviously you got a great mentor in Rick Romans, and if anybody out there don't
yeah,
know Rick Roman,
I just
yeah,
want to say I love Rick Romans, and he's been awesome. We talk a lot, and I've learned a lot.
yeah.
He's really been there for good times and bad times, so I really have a lot of respect for him. And Caleb, I like Caleb too, and Rupan. Love
Hey,
the whole family.
they're taking over because where Kayla's family's from, where I was living at, isn't far
Mhm.
actually from where they live at in the territory they run, and they run
Okay.
that whole block of West Virginia.
All that when it see,
I'm tell
it's funny. It's funny, you'll see a lot of some people on YouTube, and they'll say, "Oh man, I worked so hard," and it's noon. But I talk to Rick, and those guys are out there from sun up to sundown.
and the thing is, a lot of people don't understand down there is it's a lot like around here, a lot of real
Mhm.
rural areas. There's no subdivisions, and there's no new developments, and there's no 6 mile route density. They live in Wayne County, West Virginia, and that you
Mhm.
don't go out Wayne. Like I don't know if you've been down there,
No, I
but
haven't been down that way.
when I was living down there, you don't go out Wayne. Like
Right, right,
if you
right,
ain't from there, you don't go out Wayne.
right, right,
Them old
right.
boys down there put it on you. So them guys run that whole block. They run that whole gamut all the way up to all the way up to the Huntington Cabell Hospital, and
Mhm.
they were showing me some of their stuff, and I'm just like, man, they got a lot of windshield time, but they make a lot of money, man. You got a great mentor there.
Yeah, he does great, and I learn a lot. And you know, one thing that I've learned is to listen. You
Right.
know, a lot of people come in and say, "Oh, yeah, I know how to do that. Yeah, I know exactly what mower, to get or how to cut this lawn." And you always want to learn. I've
Yeah.
learned from your channel, his channels, a lot of different channels. So you always want to get that information. You never know everything. You can be
Yeah.
good, but it's always something that you can learn, and it's always a quicker way to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I was down there not too long ago talking to him, and like we went to a lawnmower shop down there, and
Mhm.
I I was kind of just like, because it's hard to like. I'm a guy who watches a lot of YouTube, and everybody has these huge fancy pieces of equipment. And I'm over here daydreaming about it, and he just snapped me back into the reality in a very nice way, but like very
Mhm.
stern at the same time. And I'm just like,
Oh
this
yeah, Rick.
this
Rick
guy
will
don't
tell
play
you.
no games. Yeah, he
Rick will
don't play
tell
no
you.
games. So where
And
you playing? What's your goal? Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, so what's your goal? Where you plan on taking this business at?
Sky is the limit. We're having fun. We know our numbers. We've been taking care of everything, getting the right equipment, and right now we're just, sky's the limit. We're just trying to add services, and we want to make sure that we add those services when we're ready for it.
Are you
Uh,
Yeah, are you getting extra equipment now for just in case if you pick someone up to run your stuff? Is that what you're doing?
no, for somebody else to run it, no, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. It might be a couple of surprises, down the line, but for somebody else, no. Because it's hours and hours and hours of work to get this equipment,
Yeah.
and just to hand it to someone that may not care about your business the way you do, it's kind of tough for me. I know it's a way to make
Yeah.
money, but it's a lot of turnaround, and if there's a lot of people that do not like to work, they're lazy. They don't want to get out there in the heat. Everybody thinks lawn care is easy until it's 90, 100 degrees, the humidity hits, somebody call, or you got to run here. People think it's easy until that happens.
Welcome everybody to the Lawn Care Podcast with Jesse James. I'm speaking with my good friend Chris Sloan. He's with Grass Grind TV, and he's just outside of the Cincinnati metro area. Runs a lawn care company down there. Also has a YouTube channel at Grass Grind TV. Welcome him there. Him and his wife have a good business, and they have a great family. Chris,
Yes, sir.
we tried to put this interview together two different times on a different platform,
Correct.
and it hasn't succeeded. But what we're doing now is we're literally just it's just no video and it's all audio, which is kind of something that I like anyway. Are you happy with that?
Not a problem for me.
Not a problem
Let's
with
do
me.
it.
We'll try to pick up some of the things. Maybe I'm gonna try to edit some of the things from the other channel where it messed up, and then I'm also gonna get some here. But where we left off was Chris was talking about he was talking about he had quit his job. He'd been saving for lawn care. He knew this is a venture that he wanted to go into, not just as a side hustle, but as a full time gig. And he wants to expand his business. Now, Chris, go ahead and when you expand your business, what's your where do you let's touch on it again. Where do you plan on going with your business, and how do you want to do it?
Well, actually, sky's the limit. We're looking at a lot of different ventures. So it's really no limit to where we can take the business. We're just trying to do everything strategically, and getting the equipment that is necessary. We just don't want to buy equipment just to get it. We want to make sure we can utilize the equipment that we get.
I agree, and you also said because I asked you about employees, and we both know the only way you can grow is if you have employees. Now, but like you said, is they don't care about your equipment like you care about your equipment.
Exactly. When I bring my equipment in every day, you got to clean it and you have to, you don't drop it on the ground. You don't bump into a tree. You don't jump it off a curve and see how fast it can go.
Mm.
You take care of it because you know what you had to do to get that equipment.
Now, you said you were saving. Uh, you said you was working your job. You already had the idea. You haven't started the business yet. But you started saving
Mhm.
some money. Had you
That's
had
correct.
at that time? Did you have any idea how expensive it was going to be getting into the business?
Absolutely not. I was shocked when the first dealer that I went to. I was shocked how expensive the new equipment was. The trimmers, $300 to $500. Hedge trimmers, just a commercial mower. Um, that's expensive too. So it definitely took me back, and I'm like, wow, I saved up maybe $1,000. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I can get everything that I need, and came out with a string trimmer and maybe some oil.
yeah. Because
So
now, is your family from the area that you live in now?
I
Or
have
go ahead.
oh man, I have family all over the place. I have family in Michigan, Texas,
Oh wow,
Carolina. I mean everywhere.
wow. So,
Yep.
are you originally from Ohio then?
No, no, no. I'm a Go Blue fan.
You're
Michigan fan all the
what?
way. Go Blue.
What? That's
Yes, sir.
that's disturbing. That's
Uh,
almost
it's
grotesque.
well, I'm just saying. Yep, definitely a big Go Blue fan and loving it, man.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with it. I like giving Michigan fans a hard time. So how'd you? We're kind of getting off track, but how did you end up in the great state of Ohio?
Schooling, getting prepared to be a machinist and had schooling opportunity here and took full advantage of it.
Now, did you meet Sarah in school?
No, it wasn't in school. It was just, we were just kind of bumped into each other and been together ever since.
You were like, "Hey," and she was
Yeah,
like, "Hey."
exactly.
Oh
Yep,
wow,
exactly.
that's awesome. Yeah, like I was telling you before we got interrupted, and I thought it was flowing good too. But it is what it is. I kind of like this medium. Uh, but she makes your channel. I really think she makes your channel. And you were saying that she doesn't like the camera and being a, but she takes it in, man. She has that personality
Um,
that's like this is what she needs to do all the
it
time.
it amazes me the things that she comes up with. She gives a totally different perspective of lawn care, and sometimes I just sit back and I laugh, and it's all about laughing and having fun. You want to make sure, of course, getting the work done, but I
Yeah.
mean, she definitely makes it easier to be out there and we're laughing and getting it done.
Yeah, when you had a video not too long ago, because you don't put out a whole lot of content. I like how you do it because you don't want to flood it, because there's a lot of guys that put out video every single day, or like
Mhm.
there's just so much
Well,
content you get burned out almost.
the thing is that, we try to fit it in to the schedule. And that's like, this winter, of course, we haven't got a lot of snow.
Right.
And, I don't want to have the camera and say, oh, I ate a ham sandwich today and I'm going to Kroger's.
Here's
I
all my
want it
tools.
exactly again, so I want to produce lawn care content and when it's winter time, winter content, and I want to make sure it's good content for the viewer. Yeah, I could pump out videos and
Yeah.
try to put 25 ads in, but for us, we want to make sure you're getting something out of it, whether it's a laugh, whether it's an experience, whether it's um, you know, long as somebody can take something from the video, that's what we want to do. But I see a lot of people on YouTube just pushing content just to push it.
Right. I'm not gonna disagree with that at all because
Mhm.
you do see a lot of that, and like I said, that's one of the things I respect about your channel. But while we're talking about YouTube and being creators, um there's two different types of creators. There's the entertainers and there's the educational guys. Where do you see yourself as you grow in your business and as you grow as a creator? Where do you what do you want to be known as? An entertainment guy, or do you want to be known as an educational guy?
Well, actually, I think it's three categories. I think it's the educational, I think it's the humor side,
Okay.
and also the truthful side where we can show our mistakes.
Right.
A lot of times, when videos are put out, they don't say, "Oh man, I messed this job up," or "I don't know how to do this." They it's a persona as if you know exactly how to do everything. You're the best at everything. And we wanted to bring a different perspective to say, hey, this work is hard. This is what we did good. This is what we need to learn. Make people laugh and educate anyone from our mistakes and stuff that we may do differently than other companies.
Yeah.
They may be able to take a little piece and say, "Oh man, I like the way that they're doing that." And if one person can take something out and it helps their business, the job is done. But it's kind of like a three phase, three-step part. So
I agree with
um,
that.
you know,
Yeah, I agree with that because it's hard to, and I tend to box a lot of things in, but yeah, you're right. There is a lot of guys that like it's a little bit of everything, and the humor makes it good because there's some channels like the Lawn Stars. I like their channel. I like your guys' channel because like when you and
mhm,
Sarah go to like Lowe's and like she just acts a fool, and it's just so funny that like
mhm,
we can still have fun. We don't have to be all serious because there's a lot of guys out there that
exactly.
act like they can't show their failures. They act like they can't show their other side because they want to look good all the time and create that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just sponsors. I believe, well, I'm not doing it for sponsors anyway, but I believe that you gain a better following when you're yourself and you're real. You,
Right. I
now
agree.
it might scare some sponsors if you're cutting up and like, whatever, but like at the end of the day, it's more about the sub count than I think how many sponsors you got. Now, our
Hmm.
industry, and while we're still on YouTube, our industry is blown up, and it's getting bigger all the
Hmm.
time. What do you think of it? I mean, it's getting huge. Just from a couple years ago, I remember just a few creators out there. Now I can't tell you everybody who makes YouTube videos for lawn care. I mean, I don't know them all.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great for the lawn care community, and I think it brings light to what type of work we do, the struggles. Companies can learn from other companies and um, also the customers can learn, hey, okay, this is the reason that it's this price. This is what they have to go through.
Right.
So it's definitely a learning experience for everybody, but I think it's great. I think the more the more content creators, the more that people can learn from them.
I agree with that. I love it because now I feel like, and this is what I wanted to touch earlier, but we didn't have the chance. Was you were talking about people think lawn care is just an easy job, and it's not an easy job. It's a
You
hard
know,
job. It's sweaty. You're covered in.
hmm
I mean, and you work harder than you ever have. But years ago, and I'm not sure if it's in your area, but in this area, years ago, if you was a grass cutting guy and you didn't have a huge business, well, you were kind of like if you cut grass, you were kind of looked at as a drug addict or uh, people looked at you different. But now, I think maybe with the help from YouTube, or I'm just not sure what it is, people seem to respect the guy that cuts grass and does that kind of job because you can make some real money cutting grass, and I think the world
Well,
finally sees it.
Well, I think it's getting there. I think you still have people that feel that the lawn care is not. um, a very successful career. You have some that's just not educated. You could have you can go anywhere and then you have a gentleman with a suit and tie and the nice shoes. And then me and you would go in with grass all over the place. And, they may look at us as if, wow, ill, but they don't know that we can make $500 to $700 a day or a
Ex-
thousand or 3,000, you know.
exactly.
So it's all you know, I hate to say it, but it's getting to that point, but I don't think that it's respected. Um, let's see, similar to let's say a plumber or heating and air. When they come there, they say, okay, it's going to be $75 for us to show up, right?
Right.
You have to make sure, and that's across the board. I think the problem is that with the lawn care, it's so up and down. It's not a equal balance of payment.
I
So
yeah.
you'll have a guy that'll come and say, "Oh man, I'll do your lawn for $20," when it should be priced at $40 to $50. So the customer is saying, "Hey, okay, $20, that's great." And then that company doesn't show up. They call you and expect you to do the same job for the same price, which is not acceptable.
That's funny that you bring that up because at a restaurant that I was talking to the owner today, and me and her was just kind of talking about business, and I was asking her about the local chamber of commerce there, where you know what I mean, and just talking to her about working in that town. I told her I'm trying to break into this town, and she was talking just like what you were just saying right there about how people, and she actually has quite a lot of people that will try to heckle, for lack of a better terms, will try to
Mhm.
heckle her down from a price of like a sandwich. Well, what people say is, well, I can go to McDonald's and get it for this price. And she just looks at
Mhm.
them straight up and says, well, go there, you know?
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
so what I'm starting to see, it's across, it's really bad in our industry because of the amount of people that try to break in, but
Mhm.
it's across the board to mostly the smaller people because I don't see people doing that to Red Lobster. You know what I mean? People don't do
Well,
that to the big dogs.
I think whether you're a big business or small business, and this is something that we had to learn, you have to have rules and you have to have guidelines. So you have to go in saying that our minimum is, $35, $40, or $30, just depending on your area, of course. You have to have that standard because when you're first starting out, you're so tempted to say, okay, let's say you have a $50 lawn and the customer says, oh, I won't pay that. I'll give you $32. And you're like, man, I know it's 50. In your head, you know that it's a $50 yard, but you accept it for 32 just to get your foot in the door. And the problem with that is that now that general area, that neighborhood, you can't go next door and say, okay, it's 50. Okay, because if the neighbors talk, they'll say, well,
Yeah.
uh, this neighbor is getting it for that price. Why are you so high? So you have to have that standard and you have to stick by it. I mean, we've lost customers based on pricing,
Yeah.
and we have to make sure that we're pricing these items accordingly. And if it's a price that they won't accept it, you have to have that standard because when you go out there, the type of work that you're doing. And the customer, they're in the house, they're in the AC, they're peeking out the window or standing at the door, while you're out there, it's hot. You have certain lawns that may have poop all over the place, or you got a lot of obstacles in the yards from kids. And, so it's not easy. It's just not always an easy in and out, and you have to price accordingly for that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, when, because like I was telling you how Kayla's really good with numbers. She's the one that went through everything and told me what I need to be pricing per hour and if I go out. So there was someone that called me about a gutter cleaning job, and
Mhm.
for their type of house and where they was located, it was going to be $125, and
Right.
which I think is reasonable, you know. And oh, I just heard about it from this customer. The simple answer would have been thank you, but we're going to try and find somebody different. I didn't
Hmm.
get the job, but she had to let me know. This is an older lady. She had to let me know about how, like, I was just wrong. It was too much. I needed to do it for this price and that price. And I'm thinking, A, you don't have a business. I don't know her background, but like I'm just assuming. It
Hmm.
just really aggravated me because it's like I'm prepared to lose them type of customers, but at the same time, it's like you don't want to. That just it really burnt me up. I've started to lose some guys too, but at the same time, you are right because you got to be prepared to walk away because you can't have them kind of clients choking you up from.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't have them kind of guys choking you up from guys that are going to pay you what because I'm willing to give them great service. It's just I'm not going
Hmm.
to do it anymore on. You know exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's something, you get out there and the first time that you price something incorrectly, you'll know it, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
and I've done that several times. So, it's all learning experience that you get out there and then, you have to stick to your standard. You have to have that guideline to say, hey, I'm not doing this general area less than whatever price, and you want to make sure you're comparable, with the other lawn care. You can't have other lawn care companies generally pricing at 35 and you're at 60, so
right.
you're never going to get it. So you need to know what the median is for that area, get it priced accordingly, and you should be good to go from there.
Yeah, I agree. It just takes time for anybody that's new out there getting into it. It's you're not gonna figure it all out, and it's gonna be stressful because I'm just new into it, and you're fairly new into the game as well, and it's not easy. Did you know it was gonna be a stressful like you never set out to be a business owner, but when you started to run a business, was it anything like what you thought it was gonna be?
It's I anticipated it being hard work, but until you get out there and, let's say it's a day that you're just not feeling good, but you have to get out there and get it done, that sets you apart. A lot of
Right.
people um, lack the drive to be able to get up and, you know, um, be able to get to the lawns, do a great job on it. A lot of people lack that effort, that extra drive, and that's what gets you more customers. Because the more that you're out there, the more people will see your truck, the more people will see you, and then neighbors talk. And if you have signage on your truck, that's great. That way you can be going down the street and somebody can call you, send you an email. They see what type of equipment you have, and then they can go from there.
I agree with that. Now, for someone just breaking into it and they're kind of not sure where to go on the best marketing, what's something that you can tell them that's reasonably cheap and or free to marketing that just works? What's something you tell them?
Well, I don't know any marketing that's free. Marketing is expensive,
Right. Yeah,
but
that's my fault. Yeah.
but
Correct.
the oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying correct me, but continue with it.
Yeah, but you can get flyers made. You can get preferably door hangers. Of course, you have to check that area and make sure that you can put out door hangers. There's a lot of areas that uh, you can't do that. Um,
I've
I
never
think
had a yeah, that's one thing I was going to say. A lot of people talk about flyers and door hangers, and then they go into exactly what you just said about you might not be allowed. I've never heard of that until I started watching YouTube, that you might not be allowed to do door hangers. That's
Yeah, it's different areas. They have HOAs, homeowners associations, and they're fairly pricey houses, at least in the area that I try to target. Um, and some of them have that rule before you even get into that subdivision. It'll have a sign, that say that you can't pass out those type of flyers.
wow.
And yeah, yeah, so you have to check that. Um, but sorry, I'm getting a little bit off track. But back to the marketing, I think a great way is to get lettering. You can get your truck wrapped. Now that is expensive, but an alternate is to get a magnet that you can stick on the side, have your name, your number, or email, and that way they can get in touch with you. Another great way is website. It's great to have a website. That way, um, they go on Google. Oh man, I need my lawn done. They can put in Google. Your name pops up. They contact you. I think
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, I
Um,
like the idea of the website because it's the website hits that I get aren't very high, but I think it just looks more professional whenever uh you can just tell them your website, or you can rattle off a email address that has your name and your website at the end of it. It doesn't have the kid down the street mowing grass feel to it. It feels like
exactly.
you're getting a professional
Exactly.
business. And you had your truck wrapped last
Mhm.
or this past April, I do believe. Is
Mhm.
that did that make a big difference that you
It
know of?
did. It did. I've had customers that said, "Hey, I saw you on, this street before, or you mowed my neighbors." So it definitely helped.
So that
Um,
so that turnaround that paid for itself already then, I'm sure.
yeah, it's a 24-hour advertiser. Even when it's sitting, at your house, neighbors are going to pass by it, going back and forth to work. They may have let's say, a party, and then some of their friends that's local come in, and
Mhm.
someone's always going to see your truck.
Right. Yeah, that's very true because it's sometimes when it's 100 degrees out, you don't feel like doing something,
Hmm.
and you got the extra money. We're in a really good economy. We've been in a really good, actually, we've been in a bull economy for quite some time. What's your plan if this bubble bursts?
I'll still do everything the same. What I do is I always plan, you always got to plan for the worst. So you have to have a savings. You
Hmm.
definitely have to save, especially like for the winter time. We like to take our bills from maybe October to maybe March or April, figure out what the monthly is, multiply that times the number of months, and we know that we need to at least have that amount saved. That way, if it's no snow, we're still okay. But I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
Um, it's just a matter of saving. I think that's the most important thing because you can have a guy that goes out and he's making, let's say, $500 a day, $700 a day, but he's spending $400, $500 a day. And then you got a guy that's, making $400 a day, but he's saving, he's making less, but he's saving more. So he's going to do better in the long run because he's saving for those tough times. So
Right. Because
if a more,
they are coming.
well, I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. The way that I look at it is that even if the economy goes down, there is still grass that's going to need to be mowed.
I agree.
So, so that doesn't concern me one bit.
Good. I agree with that. Now, when when you're when you're doing your YouTube channel,
Hmm.
um, and you're doing your YouTube channel, you're doing your business, you had a family tragedy come along with your daughter. Do you want to speak on that?
No, I'd rather not.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how that all played out, and that was just a rough time, and you shared it with your followers at the time, and I applaud you for that because you were really strong for a lot of other people. But moving on,
Correct.
when when we have what do you do when let's say you're a guy and you're just now taking over a area,
Uh-huh.
and you're doing good. You've already established yourself, and you got competitors coming in. What's your best move? Obviously, the best move would be just do best work, but yeah, I'm just saying if you're established and someone else
Uh-huh.
is moving into your area, is it best to get to know them or just to kind of like how would you play
Uh,
it?
I'm not really concerned about the other lawn care companies because, you know, your work ethic and how you cut the grass, how you strike the grass, how you trim, how you edge, that's what sets you apart. So it can be, a guy come in, it could be a huge company
Because they're
that
gonna
comes in,
try and lowball you.
the customers.
Well, no, the other company's gonna try, and that's what I'm getting scared of. Is like we're in such a good economy that like so many people's trying to start a business, and like I know people are going behind and just trying to cut prices.
Right.
But I mean that also goes back to how, like you were saying, how good you're doing the work. If you're doing good and you got uh, good clients, they're gonna stay with you regardless.
Yeah, they will. Now you will have customers that you'll have customers that'll move. You got customers that may pass on. So you have to be prepared to always take on new clients. And it's just a part of, lawn care. But you have to focus on your own business because if you're always looking to see what the other company is doing, that's taking time away from your business.
Right, I agree with that. And you added a service, aeration. Do
Yes.
you recommend that for people?
Yes, I do. I think it's a great way to add profit to your business. It's tough work, just like lawn care, but yeah, I definitely recommend it.
Now
It's
I've
tough.
never done it, but I seen that them machines can beat you halfway to death, couldn't they?
Yes, they will. It'll drag you, and I'm 6'4" and maybe 260, and that it will drag you.
Yeah,
So you have to when you start, you definitely have to be ready.
yeah, because I know that's something that I'm looking into is aeration because like I don't have my applicator's license. Is that something you're thinking about doing? Is you're trying to get into treating?
Actually, no.
Right.
I thought about it, but here's my issue with treating the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's say you put down the spray fertilizer and you do everything great. Okay, you put it down, you put the right amount down, and the customer doesn't water the grass the way they're supposed to.
Ah.
They're going to turn around and say, "Hey, you guys messed up my whole entire lawn." So I think my issue with that is that, you have to have a customer that's willing to, they need to have a irrigation system that comes on and, and then when you do the aeration, you have to watch out for the irrigation system. So for me, that's just something that, we're not interested in just based off of the customer may or may not water the lawn, and that makes a huge difference. You can't see a difference if you don't water the lawn.
Right. Yeah. That's something I never even thought of because it's like the applicator license in the state of Ohio is pretty easy to get. And it seems like such a cool thing to do. And it's like you're always expanding your businesses. But that makes a lot of sense because if they don't take care of it and you put your sign in front of their yard, and it's like, it just makes you look bad at the end of the day.
That's true. That is true.
Now, you do something that's kind of I think almost revolutionary. There's a couple more guys that bill the same way you do. You do prepay billing. Now, did you start off prepay billing, or is that how did you implement that, and how did they respond to that?
Well, when we first started off, we did not have the prepay system. And it took for one customer, it was a lady. She called us over. We did the lawn, and then, it was time for payment. And she was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that it was, due right now." And right, right. So we said, "Okay, not a problem." So we come back the next week, and she's home. And we start mowing the grass,
Uh
because we already told her. Well, she leaves the property.
oh.
Yeah. So I said, okay, that's fine. So
You
from
know what
that
she's
point,
doing to you, or
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I already figured it out. So, from that point, I'll send an invoice a week beforehand. So if I generally cut on Wednesdays, I'll send the invoice out Friday with a due date for Wednesday. And that's generally how we do it. I would rather uh, have payment in hand because I know we're going to be there. I know we're going to do a good job instead of doing, let's say it's a big mulch job or hedge trimming and it's $1,000 or $2,000 and it's done. You did a great job. It looks good. And they'll say, "Oh, well, I really can't give you all. I'll give you 100 right now.
oh
And
yeah,
then in 3 weeks, I'll give you 250." And, it prevents that. And that lets me know that the customer is serious. And, you make sure you get your payment properly. Um, because when they want the service, they want it done. But not all customers, but some customers wait till the last minute to pay you.
yeah.
You're not a priority after it's done.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whenever,
Mhm.
because I used to not, I recent not recently, but when I adapted QuickBooks into my, I added that system into my business. That actually helped me out a lot. I haven't done the prepay billing yet, but that's something that I
Mhm.
really want to go forward to. But when I
Right.
started offering people to pay credit card, whenever, you know what I mean, and,
Hmm.
that helped me out a lot for because like people just expected me to have that little swipe card, which is cool, the thing you plug into your phone. But when I said
Correct.
no, I'll just email you the bill, and it's people that I trusted. A lot of people I had to have, cash at the end, or whatever at the end, either cash or they had to pay me instant. But like,
Hmm.
with my weekly guys, we got on such a good. I would just email them, and I give them. Some people I would have to be due on receipt. Others, I would let them go. Like I had some people that was on disability. They give me a lot of work, but they only paid me once a month, and that actually ended up working out best. I'm actually thinking about going to like a monthly billing,
Hmm.
if you will. And there's a lot of guys on here talking now about not it's a monthly billing, but it's 12 months. Have you heard about that?
No, I have not heard about that.
It's different, like because you only mow for 7 months, let's say 8 months, but you
Hmm.
you kind of cut the price down a little bit, but you make up for it through the winter. So it's like you just average it out. They pay you once a month. Let's say it'd be like 70, $80, or it'd normally be $120 a month. They actually pay you 70, 80, 12 months instead of seven. It's kind of interesting, but you would have
Well,
to trust your people.
yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people and that's going back to the point, once the work is done, it's not of importance for them. So, you have so many holidays. You have Thanksgiving, then you have Christmas, where, a lot of customers may possibly, be tight. They're trying to provide for their family. It's Christmas time, and then you have New Year's. So for me, I would rather, instead of giving a discount per se for the 12-month, I would rather have that money right then and there, and I can take that extra and put it into savings. So
Yeah.
instead of, you know, um, but you'll have money year round, but why not have more money in a shorter period of time and save that money so you'll have money through the winter?
That
That
that makes
that's
sense.
just my thought.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. There's
Hmm.
a there's a lot of guys, and I put myself in this situation, so I'm gonna refer to myself. But if I'm going through it, I know more people have. Um,
Hmm.
when you're new in the business and and you're a couple years out, so you might remember. But when you're first finding your first customers, for some, I don't know how they know that. For me, at least, they knew that I was mentally weak as a business owner. They knew I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. And they took advantage of it. And I felt like I was getting pushed around by some people, whether it was on payment, whether it
Hmm.
was on they dictated when I came and what I did. They dictated me what I did in my own business. Did you ever
Right.
have any customers try to like kind of push you around a little bit, whether it was payment or anything like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Your job is to make sure you're pricing it right, and the customer, I'm not going to say job, but they try to save as much money as possible. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Why spend, $1,000 when you can get it for $500? It just,
Oh, yeah.
it just makes sense. So, I've had customers that, they wanted you to do so much work but didn't want to pay the price, and uh, I had to decline. And it's not an argument. It's not a you're not mad at the customer. It's just that customer is not willing to pay your standard, and you just move on. You'll find more customers, but yeah, I've bumped into that a lot. If the customer could get you to cut the grass for the lawn for $5, they would.
Yeah, yeah, because
You
that's
know,
if there's a tip for anybody out there that is kind of new in the business, and that's most of people who follow our stuff is, or at least find us, is people who's trying to learn about it. But don't take it, man, because I did. I've done a lot of work for people that I didn't have the nuts for lack of a way better term, but I didn't have the courage to actually stand up, and that's something I wish I would have took more serious. Is hey, I'm a business owner. I run this business like I dictate what I do or what if anybody's helping me out that day what they do because I've had people just I had an old lady. She was nice, but she was rough. She's definitely not on my list for this upcoming 2020 season at all.
all
Like
right,
I would be mowing her grass and like I would be lucky if I got paid. But like
right.
I'd be mowing her grass and she'd make me come inside and like fix or like there one time I had to put a bookshelf together or like
Hmm.
she would just take bags of trash and throw it on my trailer and then tell me to and like I got back in my truck so mad and I just like hit the steering wheel and I just like yell at myself like
I think at that
why.
time, I think at that time, if the customer didn't ask me, I would have to politely put it back in their driveway and
Yeah,
proceed to leave. It's all about what you accept.
yeah,
For me. The
exactly.
first year being nervous, you
Mhm.
talk to them and saying, instead of saying, yes, this lawn would be $50 weekly, we can do the hedge trimmings for this price. I was like, well, I think I can do it for 50. And
Exactly.
that makes a huge difference on how the customer perceives you, because they can feel your confidence. If you come in confident, not saying that just because you're confident, you're definitely going to uh, get that lawn or get that hedge trimming or mulch. But you have to go in knowing exactly how much you want.
Yeah, I agree, man. And that I think that's what a lot of us struggle because it's hard to just come in and call the shots, I think. Like
Mhm.
it, it's just a difficult thing and if anybody's out there, don't be pushed around. Don't make the same
Correct.
mistakes that
stand
we
up for
have.
stand up for yourself and stand up for your company
Hey,
all the time.
exactly. Now we're going to be coming to a close here soon, but what's your how should I say it? What's some of your biggest what's something that you struggle with inside your business?
Pricing for snow removal.
Mm,
Uh, that was something very, very, very new for me. And how much to pay for salt and where to get the salt and how
I
much to apply and
I
uh,
seen that you you mentioned that on one of your videos that you bought a skid from Home Depot or something like that, which is
Yep,
something I would have done.
yep.
But
And looked at the comments, and they said, nope,
e-
this is not what you want to do.
exactly. So now
Got a
you,
couple of texts, couple of phone calls.
uh,
So it's great. YouTube is great because you can, in the comments section, people will tell you, it's some people that doesn't have the greatest information, and it's some people that have great information.
yeah,
Um, and it's a learning experience. So I learned from them, instead of going to Lowe's, I need to go to this place and get it cheaper here. And but it's a lot of factors for snow and ice. You have a trigger amount. Some people do not have a trigger amount to go out to plow or saw. Some people like 100%, dry, where if it snows just a little bit, you go out and saw it. Some people want 1 inch or 2 inch before you can go out and perform the services. So I think for me, that was, and I'm still learning,
yeah.
but that's something for me that I really, really need to learn. And I'm still learning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. I definitely agree on that. I rely on a lot of people. I rely on you. I rely on Rick. It's definitely a lot to it when you got to learn, like, how much salt am I going to throw out?
Ex- Exactly. Every uh, salt particle that
It's
goes out, that costs you money. So,
it,
you don't want to go in there and, put 10 bags on there and be like, yep, that looks about right.
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you definitely have to know your formulas.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm definitely working on as a new guy in the business, and I'm sure.
Me
And
too.
if
Me
any
too.
tip for anybody out there, right away from the very beginning, find out what it takes to run you Inc. Because that's what makes the biggest difference. And like we talked about competition and other people, it doesn't matter what anybody else is charging at the end of the day. Like, just because Joe down the street's doing it for $25, and that used to bother me because I know some of these guys. I bid on, just a sidebar. I bid on this trailer park that I live in, and I bid
Hmm.
it. I bid it for 125, and like
Right.
I was talking to another landscaper, and he's a pretty good guy. Like, we got to know each other by, like, I now mow a property that he used to have, and he mows the one right beside it, so we were just kind of talking, and
Right.
he was telling me, oh, I just bid on that trailer park, and he don't know that I bid on it. He don't even know I live here. He's like,
Right.
yeah, but I bid it at 65. I think I was too high. And I was like, God. I'm like, well, why do you think you're too high? He goes, well, the kid that got it, and I know the kid that got it, you they got a lot of growing in their business, is all I'm going to say about that. But he said that they won the bid for $50, and I was like, there's no
Well,
there's
that
no
that
profit there.
that's just one of those things. You just got to let them have that.
Oh yeah, after I got to thinking about it, and I was like, good thing I didn't, because I guarantee they got talked all the way down to that price. But that bothered me at first because I thought, well, maybe I'm way too high. But then I got to thinking, Kayla crunched all the numbers. Like,
Uh-huh.
if I want to keep my
That
lights on, I have to charge a rate that, because if someone else calls for this slot, I physically can't afford to. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to afford to mow it here. I wouldn't be able to do it.
you have to make a profit in your business. There's no reason that you're going out spending this much money on equipment to break even or less than even. So, you have to make sure that you know your numbers, what your numbers are. And if there's a property that's being priced way too low, that's just not the property. That's not the property you want to even have.
I 100% agree with you. Now, coming up to our last questions, and towards the end of it here,
Okay.
what do you think? What do you think your greatest accomplishment is thus far? What's something you're proud of?
Oh man. Um, I have a lot to be proud of, man. Uh, I look at being proud as being blessed. I woke up today. Uh, my family's good. I was able to eat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I look at it. But I'm just proud of life, being able to have another day to make something happen. Every day you wake up is I don't really want to say a restart button,
It kind of it
but
kind of is, really.
but you have an opportunity to do better, to learn more, to keep going and keep grinding. That's what drives me. So I know that didn't quite answer your question, but
No,
I'm just
actually, it did a really good job because a
okay.
lot of people
Okay,
go for cliche, like a cliche answer
you're
or
right.
something like that. But another question that I'm fond of is
Yeah.
one of the talk show guys that I listen to. He always asks, "How's your soul?" And I think
Right.
that's a very important question.
Yeah.
And if you're humble and if you're happy with life and you're in a good place, because you could be wasting your days at a shop that you're not going to go anywhere, and you know what I mean. And sometimes
Exactly.
exactly. Sometimes it fiscally it might be whatever, but it's not all about that. As long as you can get the bills paid, save some money, and have a good time and live a good life, I think that's really almost all that really matters. I'm so happy, and I know this ain't about me, but I make less money now as of right now, but I'm more happy with where
Right.
I'm at and all my bills are paid. You know what I
Well,
mean?
right. Well, a funny story, real quick. And
Mm-hmm.
when I was working there, they had a all employee meeting. That's what they called it.
Right.
And I knew the numbers didn't match up from what they were telling everybody.
Uh
So I got
oh.
all the yeah. Now we're talking about the big dogs, the head honchos, the presidents, and I'll never forget this. This was when I knew that I was progressing into going to be, into a business. So, funny story. I talked to them and I said, how did I put it? I said, I have one question, maybe two. And this went in reference to the monthly, not the monthly, but the quarterly bonus, because they put on the big screen, hey, we made 5 million or 10 million or whatever large number it may have been at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys got to work a little bit harder.
Uh oh.
And maybe, look, maybe next time we'll give you a bonus. So I did the numbers in my head. I said, um, is the reason we're not getting a bonus is because we can't afford it or we don't deserve it. And
Oh.
you should have seen the faces because you have a couple of people in human resources sprinkled, the vice president, you know, kind of sprinkled in, and you should have seen just the faces because
Oh yeah.
I, I did the numbers and I'm like, you could give everybody a bonus in a weekend from the numbers that we're making, the numbers that we're showing, but you're telling us that, we can't get a bonus, but the employees are the one that's making the 10 million a quarter, the 20 million a quarter. So at that point, and I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get fired today,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh
So
yeah.
at that point, I just knew it was just one of those things where um, we can do our business our way, promote our way, and we know the numbers and how to make it successful.
Well, with that being said, I definitely enjoyed this conversation. I wish the first half of it would have gone a little bit different.
Oh, that's not a problem, man. I enjoyed it, man. That's the beauty. We put it together, piece it together, and
Right.
I think it'll be great.
Well, I it's just aggravating. But I should have known better. You never trust Wi-Fi. You know, when you're trying to do it works great when you're just on there rambling about nothing, but when you're trying to do something, it never
Right.
works. So it is what it is. I'm a piece it together. And for everybody listening out there, I much appreciate you. If you want to check Chris out, go to Grass Grind TV. He's on there. Chris, I appreciate you taking me on here, and I definitely enjoy your company. I know your company's gonna go places. I'm just waiting to see. I would love to see your face when you actually hire a full-time guy and he takes off on your
You might,
61-inch
yeah,
V ride.
yeah, you might see some gray hairs in my beard, but it may happen one day. It may
Yeah,
happen,
it's
but
got to, it's got to happen if you want to make that jump. So I just can't wait till that gets recorded because I know you're going to take over that whole market down there. You got the drive, you got the personality, and you need a little bit of both to actually make something work. So I
well,
appreciate your time, brother. I really do.
hey, I appreciate you inviting me on, and I love what you're doing here. I know you're going to be successful yourself, and it's almost mowing season, so we got to keep grinding.
Hey, you don't even know. I am so ready to get out of this house and actually get some work done. That or I hope
Oh,
it snows like crazy. One or the
well,
other.
well, we might get some tomorrow.
That's what I'm waiting on. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Hey, not a problem, man. Anytime.
Later, my friend.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys. That was Chris Sloan from Sloan's Lawn Care. He's obviously a friend of mine. I'm gonna try to piece together this. The beginning of this podcast, you've already heard it. It's gonna be a little choppy. What had happened was, since you guys weren't live with us, and maybe some of you came over, the first live the first podcast I wanted to kind of shoot it live and go on it. I wanted to stream it. So what had happened was, the first round went pretty good. We went about 10 minutes in, and then the audio started getting to be a real bad static for some reason. Not really sure what happened, but it happened. Second round, we do a take two. We throw it up live, and everything goes good. We're jiving good. We got a good audience in there with us. Storyline's going great. And then all of a sudden, my computer just shuts down. It just stops. Everything stops recording. And so we start back up, and I ended up jumping back on that live. I think there was only like maybe 10 people left in there, and I just told them straight up, like, look, not really sure what's happening, and I think the mowing gods are not wanting to make this live happen today, which is fine. It doesn't bother me at all. But I mean, it is what it is. So with that being said, this was the first podcast. I didn't expect it to be an hour long or more, but I actually like to form a long form discussion. I think it's more personable. I tend to like it a lot more, and I don't really want to aim more towards the YouTube side. I want to keep it pretty much strictly audio only. So I appreciate you guys. Keep chasing your dreams, keep hustling, keep grinding. And Chris didn't have his sign off, and I'm drawing a blank, but I know his sign off is keep something, but keep grinding. Yeah. Go check him out. Grass Grind TV. He's got a great channel. Later, y'all.